Oh my gosh. Okay, where do I even start? Happy New Year everyone! Welcome back to my channel. So happy to have you here joining me for another video. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you had a nice celebration. I hope you are ready for the new year. It's already 2023 and this is crazy. I hope you're gonna have a fantastic year ahead and you will reach all your goals, you will stick to your New Year's resolutions, and you're just gonna have a great time. So today we're gonna be talking once again about the most discussed true crime case at the moment. We're gonna be talking about the newest developments in the case of the University of Idaho homicides, the brutal and unnecessary murders of these 4 young students, which occurred just in November 2022. So a few weeks ago, I already posted a video about the whole story, about what happened. So I'm gonna link the video down in the description box as well. So please go ahead and watch it if you don't know what happened, because this is just gonna be a quick update video because we received some major news. As many of you might already know, as of last week's Friday, December 30th, 2022, a suspect is in custody and charged with the murders of Kaylee, Maddie, Xana and Ethan. Bryan Kohberger, who is a 28-year-old graduate student of criminology at Washington State University, who is currently staying in Pennsylvania with his family for winter break, is held without bond in Monroe County Correctional Facility, and he will appear in a Pennsylvania court this week. It might actually be today when this video is going up, and he will hear the charges before facing extradition to Idaho for another court appearance. In a recent press conference, the Moscow Police Department stated that more information about the circumstances leading up to Bryan's arrest will be revealed once he appears in court in Idaho. What has since been revealed, however, is that Bryan's DNA has been discovered through a genealogy process, where the unidentified DNA evidence from the crime scene was run through a public database to find potential family members' matches. Now, following this DNA testing, investigators surveilled and followed Bryan for several days before they finally were able to arrest him. The murder weapon has still not been recovered. However, a white Hyundai Elantra has been found in the possession of Bryan and his father, and investigators have been looking for this car for several weeks now because they believe that the occupants of a white Hyundai Elantra who was seen during the night of the crime might be connected somehow to what happened. Now, police took this car in for further investigation. So Bryan Kohberger was currently studying to receive a PhD in criminology at the Department of Criminal Justice at Washington State University. And this university is less than 10 miles away from the University of Idaho, where the 4 victims were studying. According to Washington State University, Bryan has just completed his first semester in the last month. Washington State University also released a statement about the arrest of Bryan, and the statement was the following. The Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology at Washington State University is aggrieved by the alleged horrendous acts of one of our graduate students. We are relieved that justice will be carried out. Our hearts are with the victims' families. Now, since the time Bryan got arrested, a lot of family friends and former fellow students, former fellow high school students, even of Bryan came forward, and they were describing his personality. A fellow student at the Washington State University named Ben Roberts stated that Bryan was always looking for a way to fit in, and he would always find the most complicated way to explain things. He had to make sure that you knew that he knew something. Former classmates from high school described Bryan as a bright and smart kid who was very interested in how the human mind worked. However, he was bullied a lot during his time at high school for being a little socially awkward, and he also struggled with overweight problems during that time. He was also described as generally very shy around people, and he would only have a few friends during his life. Now, Sean Healy, who attended high school together with Bryan, said the following. There was definitely something off about him, like we couldn't tell exactly what it was. It was just weird. But Bryan was bullied a lot, and I never got a chance to say something to defend him because he would always run away. Sean also said that it was mainly girls that were bullying Bryan in high school, and he was claiming that he thinks this is what was the main motive that led him to commit the murders. Now, Bryan's parents also spoke out to the public, and they released the following statement. First and foremost, we deeply care about the 4 families who have lost their precious children. We will continue to let the legal process unfold, and as a family, we will love and support our son and brother. They also go on to say that the entire family fully cooperated and is still fully cooperating with law enforcement, and they ask to respect their privacy as a family during this difficult time. Now, it is alleged, which many people, including me, already assumed, that these killings were targeted attacks, and the killer prepared his crime long before. Now, it is said that Bryan was seen wearing disposable gloves in public places in the weeks after the attack, and on one occasion, a couple of days before his arrest, a police officer who followed Bryan during this time said that he saw them in a supermarket in Pennsylvania wearing disposable gloves as well. It is also said that Bryan had actually stalked his victims in the weeks leading up to the murder. Now, I am not sure if Bryan was actually the stalker that Kaylee's parents referred to, because Kaylee complained to them that she was having a stalker and she was terrified of one specific person. Now, I am not sure if this is Bryan or if he was just stalking the group of victims in general because he knew what his plan already was. I also read the information that Bryan's phone pings matched some of the victims' movement in the weeks leading up to the crime. However, it is not specified to who of the victims exactly those phone pings matched. If it was to the victims as a whole group or if it was just one person or 2 persons, this we don't know. Now, a fact that might support the theory of Bryan actually being Kaylee's stalker is that Kaylee's family told ABC News that they, even though they do not know Bryan personally, have been able to see some connections between Bryan and their daughter. Now, the family stated they are not ready yet to talk to the public about these connections, but they still stated they are being happy, relieved, and thankful about a suspect being in custody. And this is basically already all we have as of now. So I really want to know, what do you think about it? Do you think Bryan is responsible for this? I actually do believe that the investigators have their guy, and I'm really curious about everything that will come up within the next weeks. I'm sure during the hearings a lot of new information is gonna be released, so I will make sure, of course, to make another update probably next week or the week after. We will see. But my personal theory is that Bryan, who was obviously facing some trouble during his childhood, during his teenage years, and he was especially facing troubles with his relationship to females, because it was only females, or mostly females, that bullied him in high school. So I think that this led him to have severe issues with the opposite gender, and he was somehow triggered by seeing this beautiful young girls. They were being so happy, they were being full of life, and they enjoyed their life. Maybe he was jealous that he wanted to have such a life. Maybe he wanted to have one of the girls or just a girlfriend. And I do think that these issues had led him somehow to committing such a horrible and such a senseless crime in the end. I also do think that Bryan planned this. He was prepared. He was following the students. He knew where they were living. Maybe he might have even been to the house once before, because it was said before that the students, of course, organized like some house parties and stuff. Maybe he was even there before, but he must have somehow studied the layout of the house, because I believe that he knew that his targeted victims were sleeping in the second and third floor. As you might remember, it is believed that the killer entered the house through a glass sliding door on the second floor, and he did not step into the first floor at all. So I believe this was targeted, and I believe he knew where exactly his victims would be sleeping in the house. Now, I am not sure if this attack was meant to be only on the 3 girls, or maybe only on Kaylee and Maddie, because they would hang out together very often. But I am not sure if he was actually targeting Ethan that night. I'm not sure if he knew that Ethan was there, because as we said before, only the 3 girls were actually living in the house, and Ethan was, of course, Xana's boyfriend, who would sleep over a couple of times. So maybe he was targeted as well, but maybe he was surprised that Ethan was also there, and he killed him as well. Now, as I said, I'm really curious about which new information will come up in the next coming weeks. As far as I know, Bryan stated his innocence, and he is looking forward to be exonerated from the crimes. So we will see how this will go. And once again, I would just like really to extend my deepest condolences to the victims' families. Still, this is such a tragedy, which is hard to believe. I would really like to remember Kaylee, Maddie, Xana and Ethan, and I do hope that the families will get some kind of closure very soon. And this is already all from me for today. Please make sure to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, because updates will follow and new videos are coming soon as well. Thank you. Bye.